Hello, everyone. Welcome once again. Today, I'm going to show you how I pick from my garden and prepare something in the kitchen. And today, I will be showing you how to prepare spring onions, espuma, right? Pick from my garden. Let's go. So, I've been waiting for some days now to pick the green onions because they are ready. I plant these green onions in batches. They are very easy to grow and very fast to harvest. So you can choose to trim it or pull it, but I'm just pulling it out because I'll be using the onion self later for another meal. But sometimes you don't need it and you can just replant, or you just cut it and you allow it to regrow. It's possibility of regrowing. So spring onions are very easy to grow. When you plant it, sometimes it takes 10 days, I think 10 days, 2 weeks, and maximum 3 weeks to harvest. So it doesn't really take that long to grow. So, and you can always grow it even in a bucket. So I think I have enough now for this demonstration. So that is what I'll be using for today. So let's go to my outdoor space. Let me show you how to transfer this into making something very delicious, light and foamy. Let's go. Spring espuma. So here is outdoor space where I'm going to make this demonstration how to prepare the espuma. It's so easy, nothing more. We start by washing the espuma and the spring onions. So welcome everyone once again to another live streaming. My name is Chef Vivian. I'm a restaurant owner and also a private chef. My aim here is to share with you my love, passion, and my knowledge about modern cuisine and also classic refined dining in general. And I think that you also have watched a few of my videos on my channel and you already know what my channel is all about. And if you have not watched, I urge you to go to my channel and check out my videos and give it a thumb up, share with your friends and family or to whom it may be useful. Thank you everyone once again for joining. So let's start right away so I can show you the demonstration how to make the espuma. So you can really make espuma of anything. So you can make espuma of anything. What is espuma? Espuma is a light foam. A foam with a light texture. So something that it's with a lot of taste. You put it in, you just, put it in your mouth and you have that feeling that something just melting into your taste bone without that heavy feeling of sauce. It's not a sauce really, it's a foam. It's light, airy texture. So that is espuma. So how can you achieve espuma? You can achieve espuma by, using this, by using the ICC pressure bottle, and you charge it with nitrogen to give it more air to any vegetable or even fruit, to create that sensation or to create that texture. So for making this espuma, I already set aside here all my ingredients, but there are different types of espuma. Espuma is ranging from maybe thick, dense espuma, or you want to make really light, foamy, airy espuma. But today I am going to show you a really airy, light texture espuma. So if you want to make a heavier espuma, the recipe is different. It is the same method, but there is an additional, way of making it. So either adding more heavy cream or adding less heavy cream or whatever. So, but let me just show you in demonstration how to make this spring onions espuma today. But we are making the light, foamy, and airy kind of espuma today. So I will clean the spring onions. Make sure you clean it very well to avoid any sand or dirt coming into your espuma. So these spring onions was planted, I think, 18 days ago, almost 3 weeks, but not exactly 3 weeks. And I can harvest it now. And I will be planting. I've already planted fresh batches, but in a few days I will be planting another batch also, because I always harvest them in batches, so I keep planting throughout the season. Then we always have spring onions to make our dishes and also our recipes. So you can also plant spring onions in a bucket, so you don't really need a big garden per se to plant spring onions. I know a lot of people always think you need a very big space in your house or a big garden ground or land to plant. No, you don't really need very big spaces to plant. You can plant in very little space if you have one. I like spring onions a lot. So delicious. I cannot imagine a summer without spring onions. I hope you guys like spring onions also, like me. Tell me where you are watching us from, and what you think about this recipe. And if you have a question, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments, and I will answer each and every one of you. Thank you. Uh, yes. So yes, this is the shaft. I just put it, sometimes I give it to my plant and it can decompose and it becomes manure. So now we are going to wash the spring onions. So I will be washing it twice so that I can remove every sand from the spring onions. Tell me where you are watching me from, and if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. I will answer each and every one of you. So I'll be giving the water to my beautiful flower here. I love planting, I love nature, and yes. So I'm going to give it a second rinse because I want to make sure that there is no sand in the spring onions. So make sure that it's clean. I'm also wearing here a hand glove because as much as I love the taste of onions, I hate the smell of onions. So if you are like me, maybe consider wearing and hand gloves when you are working with spring onions or onions in general, and also garlic. So, yeah, to clean my table a bit. I can also give some water to my flowers because it's very warm here in Belgium today, and I think the flowers will love it. So now I'm going to start. I have finished cleaning the spring onions and I'm going to slice it in chunks. It doesn't really matter how big or large because we are still going to blend it later. So I'm blending it. So it doesn't really matter. It's just to help it to be able to stir it when you are when you are sauteing the spring onions. So you don't really need to cut it or to slice it small or smaller. So it doesn't really matter. So it's this shape is enough already. Leave your question if you have one, and I will be very glad to answer you. So now I have finished preparing the spring onions. So I'm going to saute the spring onions a bit. Onions, and especially like spring onions, you want to give it that green, beautiful color. So the sauteing should be done on a very medium, low to medium heat. So it is not the aim of warming it and sauteing it in a high heat. Otherwise, there will be discoloration. The green will become a kind of brownish or khaki. That we are not doing that in fine dining. So we keep the green so green as possible. So for that reason, we are going to saute the green onions and a low heat, low to medium heat. So I think I have here about 300 grams of spring onions, maybe 300 gram of, or 350-gram maximum. So it is not a really, you are not going to measure the ingredients really, but it's the final texture of the mixture that is really important. The mixture can be from, as I told you, from thick heavy espuma to really light airy espuma. So since I'm making a light airy espuma, it will be airy, and so the texture will not be so thick also. But I will show you the final result, what I mean by that later. So the butter is melting, and I will just add my spring onions to the pan. Remember, as I told you, it is not the aim of the onions getting too hot. So you want to cook it as slow as possible. So you keep stirring it. Just cook it as slow as possible. Hello everyone. Welcome again once again to this live show, live episode. My name is Chef Vivian. I'm a restaurant owner and also a private chef located in Belgium, and happy to be your chef this evening to show you some of the meals and the menu we make here or we serve here in our restaurant. If this is your cup of tea, keep watching, because I'm going to show you or give you an idea how you can turn just simple ingredients like these spring onions into a really luxury meal in the comfort of your own home. And see, it starts sauteing and it starts becoming smaller. So the volume is beginning to reduce. Then you keep sauteing the green onions. I'll leave it to saute a bit. I remove my tea. I'm cleaning my table so we have nice space to work. So it's just to cook it a bit tender. You know, spring onions can be eaten raw, just like onions. You don't really need to cook it too long, just to cook it until a bit tender. So let me know where you are watching me from and ask any question if there is one. Yes, I allow it just to simmer. We're almost getting there. We are waiting. We are waiting. It will be wow. The end result will be wow. So simple ingredient that can be used for a luxury menu or a luxury meal in the comfort of your own home. You can make this in advance also. That is the one of the best thing about making espuma. You can make it in advance if your guests are coming for dinner, maybe in the evening also you can already start preparation in the beginning of the day or in the midday, and everything is ready for your guests. So you just bring everything together, or if it's a warm espuma, you place it in the warmer and you shake it and you give it to your guests. How simple is that? And that feeling of deliciousness, lightness, and special for those who know what it is to eat luxury. I think your guests will appreciate you. So I just want to cook it until a bit tender. Since it's not raw spring onions I'm giving, it's espuma. So we want to make it that is not tasting raw anymore. But for you to make an espuma, you always need a siphon, a bottle like this. You always need a pressure bottle. The siphon bottle, I find this one of the best quality. I have different other pressure bottles, but I find this from Isis the best. I have it now for I think about 10 years or maybe 9 years, but I have never had any fault and it works perfectly. Why I have some problems with other cheaper brands. This brand is a bit expensive, but I bet you it is worth every cent. This. So we'll be using this for the final result. So now that is what it looks like. That is the end result of sauteing. So I've sauteed it to, you know, soft texture and it's tender. And it is now okay to blend. So I'm going to blend it using my blender here, my food processor. I'm going to blend it using my food processor. So,
Right. So that Olivia, I am Jamaican, but I live in USA now. This looks like callaloo from my country. What are you cooking and what does it taste like?
okay, I am making an espuma of spring onions. I don't know if you know spring onions. Do you know spring onions? Spring onions, that is green onions, fresh onions that you plant it, it grows green.
Yes, I know.
Okay, you know green spring onions. If you know spring onions, yes, then that is spring onions. I just harvested the spring onions from my garden and then I washed it and sliced it in chunks. Then saute the green onions. Then I'm going to transfer the green onions into my blender. I'm going to blend it. Then I'm going to sieve it. And then I'm going to use it to make green onions foam, which we call here espuma. So that is the process I'm doing now. I'm showing now. I'm demonstrating now. So I'm going to transfer the green onions into my processor here, my food processor or my mixer. So my aim here is just to show you what you can do using simple ingredients in the comfort of your own home. You don't really sometimes need very expensive, ingredient to create a delicious and luxury meal in the comfort of your own home. And the channel here is just to, to show people how you can use like common ingredient, like you say, you know something in your tribe or in Jamaica, it looks like something. You can use anything, even the simple vegetable you have or in Jamaica to create this same recipe just using something else and using the same method. So you can make espuma from anything. You can make it from anything. So the only difference in espuma is the texture. So we have thicker espuma, that is it is heavier, and you have medium thick, medium airy espuma, and then you have very light espuma. Like what I'm making today will be a lighter foamy, a kind of foamy substance espuma. So that is what I'm making. So now I've transferred it into this mixture and this mixer. Then I'm going to season, of course, because it's very important. Without seasoning, there will be no taste. And for espuma, because of the air, the bubbles, the mixture has been, there's a lot of air in the mixture. So it is very important that you season enough, because if the seasoning is not enough, the end result of the espuma will not be delicious. So make sure you test it and you are really satisfied that your test is okay.
Kosten Velasco Wah.
What?
Ja, I don't know. We are hashtag.
What? Okay. I am making an espuma. I'm making a spring onions espuma today. So just to show you a demonstration how to make light foamy substances that is, delicious in your mouth and very light using any kind of vegetable you have or even fruit. But today I am using spring onions for this demonstration. So now, because I want to make a light foam, I'm not going to use too much of heavy cream. So I'm using here about 1 deciliter of heavy cream just to give it that mouthful. And then I'm using milk. Then I'm going to mix. I will be providing the recipe later because I don't really need a recipe here because I almost know how it should look like, how the texture should look like, how the texture should be seen. So I don't need a recipe for this. We only need exact measurement of recipe when you are making the set. But for just basic cooking and all the other things, you can see it with your eyes to know what kind of foam you want to make, a heavy foam, in between foam, or very light foam. So, but because for the sake of those of you who don't really know how the texture should look like and how much ingredients you need each for this recipe, I'm going to leave the recipe later in the description, not today but later, because I am making it now fresh. So you see how thick it is now. So I still want to give it a bit of milk. So okay, there is still one more thing. It is not compulsory, but this is just another trick. I have here with me some gelatin that has been weak in water. What does this do to the espuma? Gelatin help in the formation of stability. It gives stability to the espuma because you can also exchange gelatin. You can also use agar, but or also satan gum if you have one. If you are vegan, you can also exchange this with satan gum or even agar. But this gives a kind of stability, of stableness to the foam, because when you serve the foam in a glass, you have to take the foam or serve the foam immediately to the diners. But if you have 2 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes in between time, like you are dressing or you are dressing the espuma before bringing it to the client, the espuma can collapse immediately. So when you add a bit of binding like gelatin, agar agar, or even zaten gum to the solution or to the mixture or to the espuma, you give it stableness. So it gives the espuma time before it can get to the diner. So that is why I am using this. So I'm adding here.
What New Moon asked, what is it?
I'm making an espuma of spring onions. Spring onions espuma. So I'm adding a bit of gelatin to the espuma. So as I said, gelatin helps in the stability of the foam. It gives it time when you are serving to keep the shape of the foam for some time before it gets to the client. Okay, now I have finished mixing the foam. So this is the texture I have. So I'm going to strain the mixture. You see how beautiful the green is. That is the reason why I was speaking in the beginning about the method of sauteing. It is very important to saute in a low to medium heat so that you can keep the color of the spring onions green. This is very important. You have to strain through the finest strainer that you have in your kitchen or in your home, because if it's not strained very fine, you will have that roughage and it's not really pleasant when eating. So this is very, very important. So the end result will be wow. I hope you stay all tuned to see the end result of this delicious spring onions espuma. It is really, really delicious. I have made it thousands of times and every guest is wow. Receiving this as an appetizer, it is mind blowing. You really need to, sieve it, otherwise it will get all the So I hope you see this. You can also make it in advance for a dinner party or for your girls. You can make it in advance and you can save it for later use. So that is why it's so easy for, we call it mise en place. So that is spring onions for you. So it's to get a smooth texture, because when you don't strain it, or you don't pass it through a strainer, it will not be so smooth, and it will not be delicious at all. So this is a must to do process, making airy and silky caviar, espuma, sorry. I always say caviar because I always make a lot of caviar here also. So where are you watching me from?
Fatima El Grisi say hi.
Hi Fatima, welcome. Welcome to my live section. Thank you for joining us. It is our pleasure here showing you what we do here in our little kitchen for our little country of Belgium in West Europe. Welcome. So, I have finished training. So this is what I have left over. That is not, we don't use this for the espuma, because you see how there's threads from the spring onions and all the rest from the spring onions. So we don't use it. So now, don't forget, what I explained, that the taste of the espuma is always very important, because you cannot do anything to the espuma again after it has been charged in the siphon. So you cannot do anything to it. So you must make sure that the taste is accurate, or the taste you have seasoned completely before you make the espuma. So I'm going to test. That is what I said. So it still needs some salt. So I'm going to add some salt to the espuma. And add some pepper. And mix very well again. Then I'm going to test again if still just a little bit. Then it's okay. You have to test it yourself. It's just like salt. Sometimes some people say use 1 teaspoon of salt, use half teaspoon of salt. You cannot really measure salt because why? If you add 1 teaspoon of salt, some salts are more stronger than the others, or so you cannot really measure salt. I think you always have to try it, test it, and if you like the taste, if you think it's too much, or it's better that it's less than it's too much, because when it's too much you cannot take it out, but when it's less you can still add. So it's better you add little by little and test it yourself to make sure that you like it to your taste, because taste is different or is differ from people to people. So now I'm going to show the next process is to fill it in this bottle. So in this bottle there is always a maximum limit. So you see it here, it's maximum. So don't make the mistake of filling it above this line, because why? When you fill it above this line, there will not be enough place or enough space in the bottle for the airiness of the espuma. So it is important that there is enough air coming into the espuma to create that foamy texture that you are looking for. So I'm going to transfer it into the bottle. So I have just that is just enough. What I have here, that is maximum. So a little bit is under maximum, a little bit. So I will stop there. Is with that you are sure that you have enough air in your espuma. So then I'm going to close it, and make sure you close it tight. Close it very tight, because you don't want any air coming into the espuma. So you close it very tight. So it's tight. So I'm going to charge it with 2 nitrogen, with 2 bottles of nitrogen. So I'm going to charge it first with the first. So, and make sure you shake it very well before you charge it the second time, because if you don't shake it very well, it will not be activated. So you shake it very well. So I have shake it. So I'm going to remove and then I'm going to charge it with the second nitrogen. Then I'm going to repeat the process. Make sure you close the siphon or the opening here, because if it's a very light foam, it can start splashing everywhere. So to prevent it, you can just put one of your finger on it to close it. But if it's a thicker or a dense foam, you will not have that, because it will not come out. But if it's very light foam, it may come out. It doesn't always, but it may come out. But to prevent it, you just put your finger and you shake again very well. Voila. So now I have finished preparing the espuma. So stay tuned. Let me show you how to present this espuma, what it looks like, the final result. To do this, I'll be coming back very soon for the demonstration. So let me clean my table and I will be back for the demonstration. So I will be showing you different methods how you can present this espuma. You can do anything with it. You can serve it with as vegetarian. You can also serve it with some ham and add some ham with it. You can also use dried ham. You can even use some fish. You can serve spring onions with almost anything, savory, of course. So let me show you how to present it. So first shake it. Let me first see. So you see how light the foam is? So see how light the foam is. But you know, you also have to allow it to rest a little bit. So you see how airy and how really airy and light the foam is. So with me here, what I serve is with a little bit of dry capers. I'll be back. So I have here the foam, and I have here a little bit that is the capers, the powder of capers. So I just sprinkle the powder on top of the green onions And you can also add a bit of nuts. So and I'm going to sprinkle some cheese. So look at that. Let me show you the texture, how it looks like. Look how light it is. You see? Look. And you still just need to allow it to rest a bit. You see? It's so light, foamy. You just have to rest a bit, and then you will have how foamy it is. But now you see it's a bit like splitting. It's because it has not rested. You just need like about 4 hours for it to rest, and then the foam will just stand still, just like I told you, because there's gelatin now also to give it that bind. But because the foam is still warm and the gelatin is not cold to room temperature, that is why you have like as if it splits now. Doesn't split when it gets cold, the binding will come together. So you have to allow it to cool down in your fridge for at least 4 hours before you serve. So there is another method that you can also serve it in a bottle, in a glass. You can also serve it in a glass. So you just have to allow it a bit. You see, when you dish it immediately, you see that the foam, it's foamy. You see that it's stable. But because it has not cooled enough, it's not cold enough. That is why you see that as it's splitting. And with the help of the gelatin that I added to it, when it cooled down in your fridge for at least 4 hours, you will have that binding that you need to keep it stable. So I just wanted to show you, because since it's a live video, I wanted to show you so that you see how the end result is. But normally we don't serve it directly. So you can also add some green touch. This is also a crispy tuile that I made using also spring onions. If you want to see this recipe, let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to create a recipe showing you how I made the crispy tuile using the spring onions.
Hard bread here. Say, wow, nice.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming to this live episode. And check out our other videos also on our channel. Like, subscribe, and if you want to see more of this type of recipe, turn on the notification bell.
And Kumar, say hi and say super.
Thank you. Hi, Kuma. Thank you, and welcome once again to another live episode. And
Said, I love.
Thank you so much. It is very easy to make. You can also watch the continuation of the live video from the section.
Albert here, say thanks for sharing.
Thank you also, Alberta, for coming on our live show and our live streaming. You are welcome and highly welcome to this community. We love sharing food and our knowledge, our passion about modern cuisine. And I just show you how this is made. For this to have stability, you always have to add binding to it. That is, add some gelatin or agar-agar. But anyway, I'm going to provide the exact recipe in the description so that you don't miss any step if you would like to try or to recreate this recipe. Because if you don't have the exact recipe, it will be very difficult to recreate it. But like me, I can just see it with my eyes and I can recreate or I can make the recipe. So you always have to add a bending to it to be able to create the recipe. For instance, now you see what I was telling you, the foam has, why? Because the gelatin, I added gelatin to the foam and it is still too warm to keep the foam stable. So the foam fall. So there is two method of keeping the foam stable. If you don't want to add gelatin, you have then to substitute the milk for a heavy cream. Instead of using heavy milk, you have to use heavy cream. And then you are sure that your foam will be stable. But of course, the foam is then heavier. It is heavier than when you are using milk. So that is the difference. And you know, when you are using gelatin, you are also really going to keep it cooler for you to have that bending of the gelatin. So that is what it is. Yeah. So you have to keep it for at least 4 hours in the fridge to gain that stableness of the gelatin, so that you can serve it and leave it for at least 5 to 10 minutes before you bring it to your guest. So that is how it is. But there are also different methods of also making foam. Even the cold method, the warm method. If you want to use stableness for the warm method, we still have another ingredient you can use. You can replace gelatin for something else, but maybe that will be in another episode. I will show that in another episode, because today is about gelatin and it's about the spring onions, but I will elaborate further in other episode, because we have different methods of making this foam. Sometimes you see recipes and you say, oh, I want to try it, but how does it work? So there are different methods of making foams. It's from warm foam, cold foam, and and different also density of the foam, very thick, medium thick, and very light. Like I was trying to show the very light foam today, because that is the most difficult type of foam to make. Very heavy foam is very easy to make. You have dense liquid needed, and you also have heavy cream. You need heavy cream, and adding these two ingredients together, you almost don't need a binding to create this stable foam. But of course, the texture in your mouth is also very different from when you have a very airy foam. So I hope you understand my explanation, but I will also show you a lot this season, especially this summer season, because we grow everything in our garden, all herbs in our garden. And with these herbs, it gives us the ability to inspire us to create or to recreate many dishes just using our daily harvest herbs that are plucked from our garden. So that is our aim here. So we are going to share more recipes, even about spring onions. Like what I made here is a twirl of spring onions. So if you want or you like me to create a recipe or show you a live video about this recipe, I'm going to show you once how I make this spring and this crispy spring onions from scratch. So thank you everyone once again for coming up. Chef Vivian here, signing off for today. So stay tuned for the next episode. And child, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to see more videos of this type. Ciao and bye for now. Love you guys. Bye everyone. Ciao.